Darren Ravel of Collect TV here with Nat Turner, the CEO of Collectors, parent company of PSA, and all-time great collector. Nat, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Anything to talk about the cards of the 90s.
Yeah.
We were on Collect. We have the most important cards of the 90s. And like our most important cards of the 80s, while you were in that decade, you probably would not have suggested a lot of the cards in there. As the 80s, the number one card was the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan, which despite the gas station I was at, reducing it from 50 cents to 25 cents to 15 cents. I never opened a pack of
Same. Yeah.
1986 NBA basketball. Okay, so first of all, I think we need to explain the 90s is kind of divided into two, right? There were kids of my generation, which, basically went through half of the 80s and the 90s, 45-year-old guys today, who were all baseball. And 89 Upper Deck brought us into 92, 93, up until the baseball strike, and we were out. We were out completely. I was out, not touching cards, overproduced junk. We
Yep.
got the message. And then there were people of your slightly later generation where, basketball certainly picked up 97, 98, 99, 2000. And what's great about that is, I mean, that's when cards really did change even more. We thought that it was 89 with the hologram on the back, but the cards arguably of the late 90s into the early 2000s clearly established kind of where we're at today, which is kind of funny because I was out that whole time. So let's talk about those two and how you see it.
Yeah. And in the latter half, they started embracing serial numbers, parallels, refractors, autographs, game jersey, relic cards. That was all innovative and like really kind of started in 96. I mean, in a big way. Um, the first refractor was 93. The first autograph was what, 91 maybe score, like the
Yeah,
Mantles.
the
Yeah.
Mantle and Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, so like a lot of that stuff, 90s is when everything changed. 80s was just one set every year.
At number one, we have the 1997 Metal Universe Precious Metal Gems, Michael Jordan. There's red, there's green. Where are you at on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very biased because I've collected the set since a kid. I pulled a green Kerry Kittles in a card shop, and it started my love for the set. There's only 10 greens, 90 reds, total of 100 per player.
And for
Um,
people who don't know, some of the fascination on this set as grading came about is it's just so hard, right? Like there are like if you get an eight, it's
oh,
it's
it's like a
it's
10. Yeah.
monumental.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, the grade, there are some set collectors, like a very small handful, like five, who really care about the condition of the PMGs. I'm in the camp of like the card is so rare, especially the greens, that like my Jordan, for example, is authentic altered. Like I do not care. The fact that I have the card, like it could be any grade, it does not matter. There are people who really care about the grade, but I'm in the camp of like these PMGs, and it was a very widely accessible product, pretty cheap pack, so you had a lot of kids like me. I think I was 11 years old at the time. And like a lot, these cards, like many of these packs, like $3, right? Like you knew they were right away what you had. They were flipped over backwards, but they were bright red, bright green. But a lot of kids open these things and like who knows how many actually survived, and
Great,
how many
great,
boxes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
So like,
weren't
but
there weren't crazy collectors
no,
at
this isn't like,
massive.
like Flair Showcase was more expensive, EX 2001, which like credentials came out. Like there were a lot of sets that were way more expensive than metal. But yeah, I mean, look, it's if you think of the 90s, it's the latter half of the 90s. It's a different era, in my opinion, than the early, like junky 90s. Like it's Jordan, it's the most valuable card from the 90s. I don't think anyone could question that. Um, right away when you see it, like if you show a group of kids like which of these cards is the most valuable, they're going to probably pick that one. Like even if they know nothing about the cards in front of them, like Michael Jordan, it's like neon green. It's just, it's sci-fi.
Very, very awkward for me. Again, I was in a black hole
Yeah.
but very awkward for me in like, I don't know, I think it's like 2015 when I was
Yeah.
like, I've never seen that card. I don't, and now we're talking about it at number one.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's a big deal. I mean back in the 90s, like I said, you had to be kind of like in the hobby to really understand the importance. Like PMGs, it was a brand new thing. They had precious metal in 96, but it wasn't serial numbered. First 10 were green, next 90 were red. Like it was just complicated. But if you were, but that's what the manufacturers did to differentiate from junk wax is they got really innovative and like came up with these clever like serial numbering patterns. And it was a big card, but it wasn't like today it's way more important than it was then because the world has kind of come to learn how cool that late 90s innovation was. But at the time you pull one, it's probably like $3,000, and then now it's like 5 million probably. So it's Jordan specifically PMG green. Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that.
Let's talk about the 96 Topps Chrome
Yeah,
though.
and 96 Topps Chrome Kobe refractor is definitely top 10. I'm just saying like importance, value wise, there are many cards more
No,
valuable.
this is definitely importance. This
Yeah,
is
importance, the Kobe refractor is like, yeah, I mean that's the first Topps Chrome, happened to be Kobe. It's just so iconic. I mean, like me going to card shops every day as a kid, like if that card was in like, there'd be 20 kids standing around looking at that card in the showcase.
See, what's interesting to me is by 96, I was so out,
I
I did
know.
not even know Topps made
Yeah,
basketball
so see,
cards.
I switched from baseball to basketball in 96. Like I gave up on baseball.
Right.
And if you were a basketball kid, that was like it didn't get much better than that card.
The Derek Jeter
Yeah, you got
1993
to
SP
include.
foil, which I was in that game. I was collecting the Upper Deck minor league
Yeah.
card set so that I could get the
Yeah, yeah.
Frankie Rodriguez and the God,
Yeah.
Pork Chop Poe. There's a million of these guys,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was like, I was a minor league fan for so long, and
Yeah.
then the fact that they went from classic best to actually then upper deck. I thought
Yeah.
this was my chance to really get rookies.
Yeah,
But the
I would definitely, I mean, as far as like iconic important cards in the 90s, that's definitely a top 10. Yeah.
right, and when the perfect 10 came out and
Yeah.
it sold for $105,000, I remember at
Yeah.
ESPN, headline of the front page, card sells for
Yeah.
$100,000.
I mean, it's amazing and super condition sensitive, 10th
Yep.
card. Yeah.
Okay, then we have the no-name Frank Thomas.
It's
A
incredible. Yeah, I mean,
card.
I look, I like, you listen to 90s on Sirius, like 90s on 9, they include songs from like 1989, 2000. Like I put this card in the 80s, even though it's a
Okay.
90s card. But like, because it's still a junk wax card to me. The fact, I mean, obviously it's not, it's an error card, but it's super rare. But
What's
I think that,
interesting about that, though, is that as a child of the 80s, we knew about error cards right away.
oh, I know, yeah.
And this
Error
card
cards are
has,
not important to 90s collectors.
right,
Uh,
but for 80s it is
oh, I know.
because it became so much the Billy Ripken, the Dale Murphy reverse negative. I mean, these are things that
Or the Smoltz with Glavin
yeah,
photos.
Smoltz and Glavin, the Al Leiter Future Stars. When I have no more memory in my brain,
Yeah.
this will be the final thing
Yeah, yeah.
that will leave my brain.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like I said,
so
I even though it's a 1990 card, like I mean, to me it's more of a junk wax era card, but like, that's why 90s is like two different like I kind of break the 90s in two. But like if technically it's 1990 and like the no name on front, Frank Thomas, like you have to include. So,
yeah,
yeah.
and what's interesting about that is that although we knew all these errors, this was in a small enough print. Like I would say, like Fleer knew what they were doing with Billy Ripken. They did the box, they did
Oh,
the
it was
layout, they
total. It
did the
was, yeah.
cross out. Billy even
White
told me,
out.
I
Yeah.
didn't even write F face that clear. There's no way. I mean, it's a whole conspiracy, but we knew what the errors were. In this case, I did not know at the time to when I was out of collecting in 93, 94 that this Frank Thomas existed. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
only, I didn't know.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, it wasn't a big, for like hardcore 90s collectors, it wasn't a 90s card. It was just like you lumped it in with the 89 Griffey Upper Deck and like the 86 McGuire or 85 McGuire. Like it just those guys kind of all you bucket together, in the late 80s, but it's fine.
The next card's the 1996 SI for Kids, Tiger
Yeah,
Woods.
I didn't like this inclusion. I mean, I know you kind of maybe want a non three core sport one, but like kids in the night, like we did not think of Sports Illustrated cards as cards. They were like, a tearaway. Which is what
I agree, but now I think it could be in there.
I don't think so.
Okay,
We
well,
can agree. We can agree to disagree, but like that.
part of it is your company and how hard it is to get the perfect perforations.
Oh, well, the grades. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like it's no doubt an incredibly tough card to get the right size, like, because a lot of them go in six min size. And there are many fakes where people have recut them. And so, yeah, I mean,
They've recrimped the
yeah,
actual
but like
perforation.
that's not, that has nothing, like that doesn't, like, has nothing to do with like
Fair.
the importance of the card from the 90s. Like that card was not important in the 90s as a card. It was, you know, like I could argue the '01 SP Authentic or Upper Deck, excuse me. Well, no, the SP Authentic out of 900 is a much bigger Tiger Woods card. The autographed out of 900. It's not technically his rookie year or whatever, but like there's not really rookies in
There
golf.
is
And
not a golf, yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
so
now
I don't know. But like, yeah, it's a great card. It sells for a lot of money, but like I could probably pick 100 cards before that one.
easy on our list. I said you could criticize, but you can't do that. Okay, 1990 score Bo Jackson. Now, when we made this list, I said it's the most important. It's not, it's not like the most valuable, the most important. And the Bo Jackson with the shoulder
Yeah,
pads,
you got to go with it. Yeah. Yeah.
it's just one of those things. And then there was a myth beyond that that created this whole story about
Oh, no, no doubt. Yeah.
Bo and the photographer, and now he
Yeah.
won't sign it. Now
You
he
won't
won't
sign
sign
those
a
cards, right?
picture.
Right.
Yeah, and so I think that probably added to
Oh, it's
that.
like
You're
yeah,
okay
that's
with
a
this.
great card.
Okay. Kodak and Stadium Club, the extra shiny card,
Yeah,
uh,
huge.
the Beam Team, Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, huge card. One of the first inserts, really. Um, I mean, Shaq was enormous, right? He was from the get-go, like, the he was like Wimby and like, just took over the NBA right away. Unlike Kobe was hot, but like rookie year, he was, what, not even a top 5, top 10 draft pick. So yeah, Shaq Beam Team. It's like I mean, you could, obviously you don't want the list dominated by Jordan, but like you got it in the 90s, you got to
Yeah,
have a
we did a rule that it only could be one card of one
yeah.
player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like yeah, I figured, but like yeah, that Shaq is huge. As far as that's the Shaq card for sure.
Again, it is so weird. And I know when I'm saying this, people are like, my kids are like, I don't understand. I
Yeah.
was a basketball fan. Every time Michael Jordan came to New York or New Jersey, I was there.
Yeah.
I don't remember Stadium Club having a basketball set in 92.
Oh yeah.
I was just buying the baseball version. Like
Yeah.
it's so
If you're a basketball guy,
weird.
that's a huge card. Yeah.
It's so weird. All right. Then the guys said maybe they wanted to get an NFL guy on here. The 98 contenders ticket
Yeah.
Peyton Manning.
Big
Yeah.
card. I mean, I remember the card well as a kid. I mean, Peyton was like Shaq. I mean, he was, number one pick. He was he didn't have a good rookie year, but yeah, that is Peyton's. Well, if you yeah, there's the what's the other one? Tops there's a top certified autographed rookie of Peyton. The contenders ticket, like the autos were also they now today. I mean, like almost all of them are faded and they're pretty bad condition. Yeah,
Bad pen.
I probably, but honestly, like Randy Moss is bad. Like they're all bad. So it's not just a Peyton thing. Maybe the stock that they were printed on, but yeah, I mean, if
Got it.
you're including a Peyton card, that's probably I mean, that's definitely the one. I'll be honest,
So
way back then, like there were bigger Peyton cards, like a Topps Chrome Refractor was probably bigger just because it's more accessible, but like that's the most important Peyton rookie. So yeah.
So if I were to say this is us looking at the list now and saying what the most important, not what it was in the 90s. If it were in the 90s, the 94 SP Alex Rodriguez foil, remember it. That
Oh
was
yeah.
that was probably the last card I remember
Yeah,
before.
huge card back then.
Huge card. Like that would have
Yeah.
been in the 90s, at least the first half of the 90s.
Oh
That
yeah.
was number one.
Oh, I remember ripping packs chasing that card. Yeah, I mean, huge.
So yeah, that was number
What was
one.
the other one? The artist proof, like photo effects, or no, what was it? It's like got the hologram view. That was the other big A-Rod card I remember as a kid. But yeah.
Can't remember. Oh, but I do remember I had an action-packed Appleton Foxes,
Yeah.
where it was raised,
Yeah, yeah.
the A-Rod. All right. I again, I was out. The 97
Yeah.
Skybox EX 2001 Allen Iverson.
Am I allowed to disagree or what? You said
Yes,
no.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would
You're
not
not
include
allowed to say this is not even top 100.
No, no, no. This is an incredibly important card, but I would include, like, for example, the 1993 finest Ken Griffey refractor is,
Sure.
is the most obvious snub, because it's the first refractor set. Ken Griffey is like the kid from the 90s. Like, even though he was a rookie in 89, like, you got to have a Griffey card, and I would choose that. Like, AI, like, there are bigger names in that set. Like, for example, I mean, I know you don't want multiple Jordan and Kobe, but like, Duncan, McGrady, like, there's a lot of big names in that set. This one's huge because it sold for such a big number and it's serial numbered so short. There's serial numbers 1 of 1 all the way to 81 in the now set. Jordan's 9, Kobe's 8, Grant Hill's 1 of 1, but Penny I think is 4, and so on. But like, incredible. And you need, like, I would put for AI, I would put, well, you can't, I don't know if you want two for the same set, but like 96 Topps Chrome Refractor AI,
Yeah,
huge.
that's a good one too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would put like the 97 Upper Deck again. No, you don't want two Jordans, but 97 Upper Deck game jersey, first ever game jersey card, Jordan. And the first ever game jersey auto card is the autograph version out of 23 with the All-Star jersey. Like those would be, and then the 93, I think, because refractors were invented in the 90s and it's the foundation of everything today, Prism, hollows, and like the biggest card from that set. The most expensive is actually Nolan Ryan from 93 Finest refractor, but more because the pop is so low. The Griffey is just like, and then I'll throw in one more, which is the Griffey Mantle Dual Auto.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely. That was Upper
yeah,
Deck was now that was I think that was 91.
94.
Oh, 94. Okay, so this is when Upper Deck is like they had the year 89. Everyone bought cases and cases of
Oh,
1990.
that was like, I mean, I remember seeing one in a shop and like, that was just, you couldn't, like, it just seemed like, the greatest Yankee other than Ruth with like, and again, the 90s, like if you think 90s as a baseball kid, it's Ken Griffey. You
But
know,
that was arguably the first national chase card.
sorry, I get your point. Totally agree. Yeah, like the whole country was trying to catch to
Correct.
pull one. Yeah, and like PMGs and all that stuff weren't really like that in '97. Like they were so new and unique and kind of complicated, like greens and reds, and there's like 10, the first 10, and like credentials. They all had different serial numbers. Like an autograph card of Mantle and Griffey is just so simple and obvious. And yeah, that was such a cool. Yeah, but yeah. So my point would be you got to include Griffey, and as far as baseball goes, because I kind of like forget the steroid guys. Griffey 90s, and then that would be 93 up, finest refractor. Um, but yeah, the AIs. I mean, it's like a $500,000 card. It's incredible, but like,
Yeah, we tried not to get colored by by the value.
yeah, but like 10 years ago, that's 5 grand.
Right, right.
So
Nat Turner, CEO of Collectors, great collector. This was fun. I expected a challenge, and you did indeed challenge us.
all right, I'll see you guys.